Hello, I'm Manon. Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how I watercolor a page. I'm showing you some pages in my sketchbook just to show you some examples of pieces where I've used watercolor successfully. This is the page of sketches I'm going to be watercoloring. They were just life portraits I did of people. This is the pen I used. It's non-water soluble. This is the watercolor pen I use. Water is inside the pen and I squeeze it to release water. It's very travel friendly. This is my watercolor palette. It's very used, as you can see. It's a Winsor & Newton watercolor palette and it's served me well. The range of colors you can get is actually amazing, and I've had a lot of fun experimenting with it. I use watercolor probably more than any other paint. It's sort of a paint for the people who are afraid of commitment because you can change it up a lot. I really like the look of watercolor because of how you can layer colors. In all of my pieces that I've done this year, I've used watercolor in some way. To start off, skin color. All skin tones that exist on Earth, different mixtures of red, yellow, and white, and brown, depending on how dark or how light I want the skin color to be. And all three figures, as I'm painting them, they all have slightly different skin tones, and that's because I've mixed different amounts of red, yellow, and white together. This creates different skin tones, and you can create a lot of depth and a lot of variety and diversity that way. So early on in the watercoloring process, as you can see, I'm laying in the base colors. I'm deciding quickly in sort of a blockish way. I'm just laying them down semi-thickly and not really thinking too much about it. As you can see, all three of the girls in this sketch have different colored hair. How I do this is I lay in, depending on the darkness of the hair, I will lay in a base color which is lighter. I always lay in a lighter color, a lighter version of what will later be darker. As you can see, in some areas I leave a little bit of white, and that is because I'm adding a highlight, which is best left not watercolored over to have the best contrasting effect. Once I put in my base colors, I start to work into it a little more. Not exactly finding traditional colors to sort of amp up the base colors I already have. As you can see, I add like orange in some places. Colors that in reality aren't there, but because this is a watercolor painting, I can sort of embellish and make it more interesting. That's a tip for watercoloring, is not to just use the colors you see in reality, but use your imagination in the sense that what colors do you think are beautiful, and what colors would enhance this person even though they're not real, they're not the colors you see in real life. I'm adding like deeper shades of orange and brown, and I'm also using I'm using blue as my shadow. So this is just an example of minimal layering of watercolor. My final tips for watercoloring in your sketchbook, or layering watercolors, is just to experiment a lot. There's just an infinite amount of color combinations you can use, and I mean, probably not, but you know, there's a lot of them. Mess around with skin tones and hair tones, as those are those vary greatly. Don't stick too hard to reality. Experiment with colors that you wouldn't normally see. But yeah, thanks for watching.